Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for Self-Love to End Anxiety. I'm so happy to have Lorraine here with us again. This is the third webinar, I believe, that we've done together, and I love the topics she does because they're so timely and they address what can be sort of blind spots for business owners when they're feeling overwhelmed. Lorraine is a marriage, family, child counselor, board-certified educational therapist, and certified coach. She's also an international best-selling author and global thought leader on self-love and trading anxiety, guilt, and shame for ease and peace. In 2013, she healed herself from lifelong depression and 18 years of Zoloft, and now passionately teaches the kind-hearted, empaths, intuitives, and ultrasensitives to come back home to themselves. Lorraine's authenticity on 2.5 years of weekly NBC TV shows, videos, and writing has earned her the respect of global fans as she tirelessly empowers others since 1995. She shared virtual stages with Dr. John Gray, Dr. John DeMartini, Dr. Robert Pease, among other global thought leaders. So thanks for being here, Lorraine.
Thank you so much, Shay. I can't tell you what a privilege it is to be here again with you guys. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sorry. I got a little feedback. I think I have my other computer too close to the screen, but hopefully nobody else heard that terrible noise that just happened.
So I just want to say welcome to everyone who's here and everyone who's watching the replay. And thank you so much for caring enough about yourself to register for this webinar. And I want to especially thank Direct Pay and Shay and Jason and Diana and Fred and everybody there for inviting me to give a webinar to their clients. And I feel very honored and privileged to do that. Today, what we're talking about is self-love to end anxiety, because I know that there is a lot of anxiety carried over from 2020 into 2021. And while I was sitting here earlier, you know, just kind of before God, however you want to call that, I just got a word that was, we go into anxiety when we don't trust. So when we don't trust is when we fall into anxiety. And there's sure been enough in the last year to get us to question if we could trust. And I know that's one of my biggest challenges, is trusting and not thinking that I have to carry it all myself. And especially as business owners, it's really rough, because we think, you know, everyone here is probably an entrepreneur, and we think we're supposed to, you know, if it's going to happen, we got to make it happen. And I personally have really entered into the fifth dimension and into less effort and more ease and more trust. But there still are those moments where I am, you know, freaking out around the edges. But then when I remember that universe has my back, I am well taken care of, the angels are surrounding me, that universe will not leave me high and dry. In fact, the other day, I was at just 2 days ago, I was on the phone with a client, and they said something that really triggered me. And I heard God whisper, angels, whatever you want to call it, just that inner knowing probably, say, see, I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to take care of you. So that edge of not taking it all on our own shoulders is so huge. And in order to do that, you have to come into a place of self-love. Because when we are thinking we have to carry it on our own shoulders, that's really a self-punishment. Just going to tell it like it is. You know, we are parentifying the powers that be by how we were raised and projecting those same things onto God, universe, all that is, source, Buddha, Allah, whatever you subscribe to, is that the word? And it's not that way. I want to open your eyes to opening into a new space, a bigger space of surrendering the burdens, surrendering the having to carry it all on your own. That was the third dimension, which was, you know, logical sequence, Newtonian physics, you know, what you see is what you get. Got to put in so much effort to get this much back. And we have stepped into the fifth dimension now. You could be in the fourth dimension, transitioning from the third to the fifth, but it's learning to relax and let go and trust. Trust is the best way I can say it. So self-love, the way self-love comes into this is taking that little person inside of you who is afraid, because it is like a little person inside of you. You know, we may grow in years, but there's still this arrested development inner child that needs nurturing. And so when we do the work of self-love, you know, self-love, there's a lot of talk about self-love now. I've been talking hard about self-love since I got off my 18-year addiction to Zoloft. And you know, back then nobody was talking about it. Now everybody's talking about it, but it's kind of like, yeah, I think Shay, you were talking the last time about you know, going out with wine for the girls and stuff like that, and that being self-love, getting your nails done. I actually think that is a distraction to self-love. I mean, you can do that to make yourself feel good and have fun and everything. Of course, we're supposed to have fun. But when we think it's that, getting our hair and our nails done, for you guys, it might be, you know, getting your car waxed, or, you know, I'm not sure what it is, getting an upgrade on your computer. That isn't really self-love. That's nice. That's you know, maybe self-care. But what self-love is when you get those triggers, like when I got the other day with a client, when you get those triggers, is asking, going inside and asking, what does this remind me of? And you're going to go into a younger state, you know, like, okay, how old do I feel when this thing triggers on me? I feel 3. There was a thing that happened last week that triggered me also. Normally I'm not so triggered, but I've been getting a rash lately. And you know, it was like feeling misunderstood. And then you go and you take care of that little inner person and you say, what do you need from me right now? What can I get for you right now? This is a big body of work, the inner child work, but suffice it to say, it's you having your own back and not self-abandoning. You having your own back and not self-abandoning, not throwing yourself under the bus, doing what makes you feel best about you, and checking, is there high performance anxiety? Is there, you know, what will people think of me? You know, certainly that is a factor, but not a controller. So does that make sense? Shay, am I hitting it on the nail, or is it, do you think we need to go into some other little things better, or what are you thinking?
No, I think that's great. And I know last time somebody asked this question, so I kind of just want to ask it again. If you have any advice on identifying triggers, how do we know that we're being triggered? And it's not just like, you know, the panic over a specific situation. It actually is a trigger for us that we need to address.
Well, the way I know I'm triggered is all of a sudden I want to react. I want to react, either getting defensive or just feeling that anxiety. That is a trigger. I've been triggered. There's been something that's been said or something that has done, or even just a thought that's triggering me, meaning I'm no longer in peace and serenity and calm. I am now in fight or flight, freeze, or what's the other one? Can't remember the other one. But anyway, I'm doing one of those, fight, flight, or freeze. I'm reacting. It's kind of that thing where you want to do a knee-jerk reaction. Does that answer it, Shay?
Yeah, it definitely does. I'm just thinking too that, you know, sometimes I guess it's identifying when it's anxiety, just because anxiety can be so debilitating, and when it's just overwhelm where maybe we need to, hire a VA, or, we need to just take some
Yeah.
time off for a bit. There's certainly a big difference, when it comes to daily anxiety.
Well, anxiety is fear. Anxiety is nothing more than fear. And anxiety is only supposed to last in our body for 5 minutes, 1 to 5 minutes. After that, it turns into a real problem in the body. So we're the only animals on the planet that can create anxiety from our thoughts. And if you think about what you're anxious about, it's a fear of the future, something that's going to happen in the future. Like, even if it's something that happened in the past, but somebody in the future is going to think of you. So becoming empowered around anxiety and loving yourself enough to calm yourself and do some breathing and just coming back to the generous present moment is a big, big piece of it. But I think the biggest thing is just being that slave person on us, being the slave driver on ourselves, thinking if it's going to happen, we have to make it happen. Can we step into a bigger place of trusting that the power that bees, the power that is, has our back, and that our desire for more is taking us in the right direction, and trusting that our desire as our GPS is going to navigate us into the next inspired action and the next inspired action and the next inspired action. And we don't have to worry about the details if we can really stay aligned to the desire and stay in the happiest state we can, and staying out of that anxiety and that panic. And as soon as you see it happening, fear is excitement without the breath. That's from Dr. Fritz Perls. Fear is excitement without the breath. So when we feel that fear that will turn into anxiety, we need to just breathe, and breathe more, and breathe more, and breathe more. And then pretty soon you start to come back to calm. But if you are being a slave driver on yourself and think that you're the only one that can make this happen, and you're not leveraging the universe, I hope this is helpful, because I can give you some tools, which I will, but what I'm getting from my connection today is it's about trusting the bigger process. I think it's extremely practical, because we cannot do it alone. If we are just doing time in, effort in, creating this result, we will be diseased, heart attacked. It's going to happen, because our body cannot take it. When we are not feeling good, when we are not feeling happy with a thought or an action that we're doing, it's because we're not supposed to handle it. So if you can get yourself back to, like, if there's something you have to do and it's like, yes, hire a VA, definitely. And that can be stressful too, I understand. But you must care enough about yourself to get what you need. Because if you're really grinding and things are really uncomfortable, there's something about this picture that is not right. We are not here to suffer and struggle. We're not here to struggle. This is what I'm seeing more and more and more. We are not here to struggle. We are here to enjoy and have an expansive life, and just allow the abundance that is to easily flow to us. Now, I'm in the baby stages of really uncovering this for myself, but it's an amazing place, and I know it's truth. So I hope this is resonating with everybody. It's probably not what you thought it was going to be, but again, anxiety happens when we don't trust. And what would we possibly trust? Trust the process. You're in the middle of something uncomfortable and difficult right now. If you can come to it, okay, I have this process that I sort of invented by combining two famous people, Michael Singer and Matt Kahn. And the first one is called Ardeo. This is the best practice. R stands for relax. This is the Michael Singer part. Relax. So when you notice your body getting tense, you need to relax, because that body tension, I'm pointing to my neck, that body tension is an indicator that you're carrying more than you're supposed to carry. If you're taking notes, I invite you to write that down. If you have body pain, that's an indicator that you are carrying something that you are not supposed to be carrying. So we can just relax and just imagine that muscle having like warm oil just going over it, and there's just like this deep inner releasing happening, and all the tension is just draining out. And whatever that thing is that was bothering you, making you tense, just surrender it. You don't even have to know what it is. Just whatever that thing is. In fact, if you go fishing for the reason, you can get caught back up in it again. So just go, oh, just surrender. I relax my muscles and I just surrender. So that's the big one that got Michael Singer to be a billionaire, by the way. If you want to learn more about that, get the book or listen to the audio book by Michael Singer called The Surrender Experiment. And he went from a hippie to being a billionaire by doing this practice of relaxing his body as soon as he noticed the body tension, and then surrendering it to whoever, whatever. I sometimes just surrender it to Mother Earth, just like let it go. You know, Earth is the master composter, so just let it go. So that's the R part of our Deo. And then we move to the Mat Con part, which is Deo, D-E-O, stands for deliberately holding the intent of ease, and open-heartedness. So when we are in a state of anxiety, panic, fear, especially as business owners, and I know a lot of you are even parents, maybe single parents, trying to do this, trying to raise your kids at the same time. Look, hold that deliberate intent of ease, and I invite you to just do that right now. Hold the deliberate intent of ease and just imagine something that makes you feel easy. I like to think of myself in the stream of well-being and just floating on my back in this nice warm water on a beautiful sunny day with mottled light coming through the trees, and just I'm being supported by universe. My back is lifted up by the water supporting me, and everything is okay. I don't have to worry about anything. So I just invite you right now to just hold the deliberate intent of ease. Maybe for you it's a meadow, maybe for you it's downhill skiing, maybe for you it's falling out of an airplane, skydiving, whatever that ease is, just that feeling of just So just dwell there for a moment and just allow yourself the indulgence of feeling ease. It's not supposed to be hard. It is not supposed to be hard. In fact, in the future, what's going to be happening is those people who are working hard and grunting it out, well, they're going to be diseased, for one thing, diseased and heart attack. But and I'm not saying that as a negative prediction. It's just going to happen. It's just going to happen because that pushing, our bodies are not meant to do that. We are meant to surrender our burdens. So just find that place of ease for you. Maybe it's being in your bed. Maybe it's walking in the snow. Maybe it's petting your cat. Ease, and then open-heartedness. Just imagine your heart opening like a rose. You cannot be fearful and have an open heart. As soon as we feel fear, as soon as we feel anxiety, doubt, shame, blame, anger, bitterness, resentment, our heart goes. And that's another reason that unless we shift our speed to surrendering and trusting, it's going to be not that pleasant in our bodies, because our bodies, again, are not meant to carry that. And your indicator is that If it was meant to be something that you were supposed to do, it would feel good and it would feel happy and it would feel light. The truth is light, a lie is heavy. The truth is light, the lie is heavy. So when you feel a heaviness come over you, lie. It's a lie. You're being told something by your thoughts that you're supposed to carry something that you're not supposed to carry. You know, whether it's taking care of your kids, doing more for your family than you were supposed to. You know, I spent a long time as a parent mentor, and one of my biggest things was do not do for your family what they can do for yourself. Because I've seen countless women, especially, sick, dying of cancer because they carried it all on their shoulders, you know, buying the lie that they're supposed to do this. So my question to you is, as a business owner, what lie are you buying that you're carrying on your back? And this is causing the anxiety. It's opening the door for more what I call south thoughts. See, we can't control the thoughts that come in. We can only control what we do with them. So are you entertaining those thoughts? Are you dropping it like a hot potato? Because as soon as you have that thought, your body will tense up and seize up. As soon as you have that thought, your body will have a response. So as soon as you notice the tension, just relax it. Remember, Michael Singer became a billionaire doing this, a billionaire. Relax it and then surrender the burden. You don't even have to know what it is. Just go, God, whatever this is, I'm just letting this go. This does not feel good. It means I'm not supposed to be carrying this. And then hold the deliberate intent of ease and open-heartedness. And you can practice the open-heartedness. When I go to the grocery store, I practice open-heartedness. It's a practice, because there's a lot. The wisdom of the world would say, no, you shouldn't have an open heart. You can't trust people. Well, that's not true. That's not true. There are beautiful people in the world. There's so many beautiful people in the world. And I'm just going to take a little segue right now with all the, you know, COVID stuff going on right now. You know, media is here to shock you. Because when you get shocked, you get addicted to the adrenaline that happens to get more shock. Okay? So it's not to inform you. The media is not to inform you. It's there to shock you. So you get addicted to more shock, more shock, more shock. When we go into adrenaline response, our body gets addicted to the chemical cocktail that our hormones produce throughout our body and in our brain. So we actually get addicted to suffering, and that sells advertisement, because then you're stuck on the thing, and then, oh yeah, now you got an ache of pain, and oh yeah, now I need Nexium, and now I need this, and now I need that, and this pill and that pill. And that's why I was so glad I got off Zoloft, because I couldn't get off once I got on when my mom died, and I couldn't stop crying. They're like, oh, here, honey, you have this little pill. You know, the doctors, they're well-meaning, but you know, they just want to help you. They just want to help you. So at least this part is in their control. They can actually give you a pill and they can help. But what if instead you were to go, okay, I hear this thought. This is trying to keep me small and scared and hunkered down. But I decide that that's not what I'm going to do with this information. And I'm going to say, thank you for sharing. Thank you, little mind. Thank you, ego, for trying to keep me small. I have something bigger to do here. And I'm not going to make it for the distance if I'm sick. So once we make it past that 5-minute mark in anxiety, the adrenaline will make us sick. So we must find something to get ourselves back to homeostasis and back to peace and back to calm. And it can just be, I surrender this, I trust. I surrender this burden. I trust you, God, Jesus, Buddha, Allah, whatever you are. Because there's got to be something different. I hope that what you can take from this is that we were not meant to suffer. We were not meant to struggle. We were not meant to have the strain on our bodies. And I believe that's why, you know, why we die, because of the stress and the anxiety and what that has invited into our bodies. And then when you start going in the downward spiral, it's really hard to pull yourself back up, although you can. I sure did. But my message to you today is to use the tools of breathing. Fear is excitement without the breath, and anxiety is nothing but escalated fear. So as soon as you feel afraid, that fear, address it. You're not going to put your head in the sand or ignore it. You're going to say, okay, what is this trying to say to me? And then you're going to reclaim yourself. Call back the parts of yourselves that when you go into fear and anxiety, get shattered and start scattering all over the place. We lose our mind. When you're in a state of anxiety, you're not even aware of your body. Okay, so as soon as you feel, I mean, you can just get grounded by saying, how do I feel right now? As soon as you tune into your body and say, how do I feel right now? You've got it. You start breathing, you start anchoring to your heart, to your chest. You can put your hand on your heart and on your stomach and just say, what are you trying to say to me right now? What do you need from me right now? What do you need from me right now? What would make you feel really good right now? What would feel good right now? Cup of tea, change the subject, go for a quick walk. I have, used fast walking. There were times when I had to take so many fast walks, just as like I was like running away from it. It's like that thing was like on me like a monkey. And I just had to just keep walking till I finally, bust through. And it's that important. It's that important for you to love yourself enough to realize that you were not sent here to suffer. You were not born to suffer and struggle. What kind of sense does that make? Nothing. That's a lot of times what religions might say, because they kind of want to sometimes keep us in this spot. But, a lot of us were raised that way. So we think that that's norm. We think that that's the way it should be, but not necessarily so. And I'm on the edge of to put it another way, so much happiness that it's like the pursuit of heaven on earth instead of depression, anxiety, fear, doubt, shame, guilt, anger, bitterness, resentment, blame. No, I call those the stupid human tricks that we can do. And I'm not interested in participating in that. I'm looking at something different, completely different. Like, let's say you have a financial burden right now. What if you were to just surrender it to, it doesn't have to be a God, it can be universe, it can be to your higher self, it can be, just anything that's bigger than you, because it's all the same ultimately. Just surrendering it to, okay, this does not feel good. I'm just surrendering it. You ask for help. Ask for help from people. Ask for help from the etheric things you can't see. And love yourself enough to not drive yourself into the ground. I really highly recommend not scrolling social media, not watching news, cutting yourself off from the mass manipulation. It really is a mass manipulation, in my opinion. And the only way I saved myself from the severe anxiety that I had since I was a little girl was to completely step out of that and just find my own center. And I know that when I'm supposed to know something, I will find out. Someone will tell me. I'm like, okay, heads up. I don't have to bathe myself in the magnification of a few pockets here and there who are doing weird things because of their own anxiety and fear. And so then the media blows it up and makes us think that that's what's happening everywhere in every city in every pocket. And it's just not true. If you want to know that that's not true, just look at your own sphere. How many people do you know who are doing that? They're not. I'm only surrounded by loving, grounded, happy people. I don't know those other people. They don't exist in my world. There might be a few people here and there. And by the way, I do send them love, and I have a practice every Monday, Wednesday, Friday on Facebook where I do a live stream, and we actually spend time sending light and love out to the entire planet. That's what we do there. So I'm not being dispassionate um, or judgmental. I just know that I must keep myself in a happy, light state, or I'm no good for anybody. Is this making sense? I feel like I gave a scolding or a lecture. But it's really important because I want you to make it. I want you to make it as a business owner. I want you to thrive as a business owner. I want you to believe in that dream, because that dream is that desire is your GPS. It's your divine GPS. And believe and go for it. You don't need to know the how. I was just hearing Goethe was saying something like, I'm just going to slaughter this, but, essentially follow that desire and do it, just start doing it. Goethe said that. That was like, what, how many centuries ago? Maybe it was just the 1800s, I'm not sure. But like boldness has power, magic, and something else to it. Like when we're bold for our desire and trusting that desire, God gives us the desire of our heart. That means God put it there. Doesn't mean it's egotistical or self-centered or conceited or self-aggrandizing. It was sown into your heart, as Brendan Burchard says. That desire that God sowed in your heart. That's what we need to honor. And that is the ultimate self-love. That is the ultimate self-love, is to honor that desire in our heart and trust that if it's there, it's possible. If it's there, it's possible. So surrendering those burdens and trusting. So this might be a bigger leap than you wanted for anxiety, but that's really what's coming through me for everybody today. The bottom line, the very bedrock of this whole thing is we need to trust. We need to trust whatever it is you trust. We need to trust that we didn't just get plunked down to struggle and sacrifice and be in pain and misery. We were put here to expand in joy and expand in love and expand into abundance and having a lot of fun. But there's not so much fun going on these days, right? Time to unwind from the ways of the world. Time to step into a new thing, a new thing. And that new thing is here, it's dawned, and I'm presenting it to you now. And it's when we surrender and trust, our efforts get leveraged and things happen as if by magic. Shay, do you have anything?
Yeah, actually, I wanted to add too that a lot of what you're saying resonates a lot with me, and I know it's resonating with some of the people we have on the call too. We're getting quite a few comments, but yeah, I just wanted to throw in that I find that the number one thing that I deal with, which you're kind of touching on, is the negative self-talk. And being overly critical, I guess, of myself, and even I would call it holding grudges against myself for choices I've made or things that have happened. And it sort of becomes this story that we tell ourselves and that we allow other people by extension to tell about us. And we're really the ones in control of that narrative, and we have to stop it from becoming the truth.
Big Shay. Now, I've had to come through so much of this. If you could imagine, my lifetime depression with suicidal ideation since I was a little girl. So much self-doubt and everything that was wrong, it was about me. And I'm not saying people put that on me. That's how I interpreted what they said as being just very, very sensitive. And to come out of the self-doubt, and it's still there. It's like a little thing in the background, but I just don't pay attention to it as much as I
Mhm.
used to. But it's not going to stop me from living my dream and living what I call your great big life. Your great big life, your great big life, the one that's been sown in your heart. So when you really get in touch with, honoring that thing that's in your heart to live, then everything else is incidental. Ultimately, it might hurt, it might set you back a day or two, but it's not enough to keep you from living your purpose.
Mhm.
I call that living your purpose.
Yeah, and the other thing that I like to keep in mind, I even have a little post-it to remind myself of this, is that we're all constantly becoming,
Mhm.
so we're not necessarily a product of our mistakes or, our missteps anymore. We work through them, we grow through them, and we become different. So to keep reminding yourself of them, it may be a person in the past who did that. It's just funny because my mom and I talk about this a lot, because my dad is like, well, Shay, Shay does this all the time. Shay, she's not good with money. And it's like, well, wait a minute, that's the story that you're telling about a girl that I used to know, or somebody that I used to be. That's not necessarily me now. So, yeah.
That's really big. That's really big. Sometimes it's helpful to not spend so much time around those people. And
Mhm.
I'm not recommending, disconnecting from your families. But if it means you getting yourself into a really stable place to where you can begin to believe in yourself and not be swayed and influenced by these things, it
Mhm.
might be really important
Yeah,
just to get.
I
Go
was
ahead.
at I'm sorry, I was at an event one time. I believe it was Vanessa Shaw, one of our members, and I'll never forget that she said, when you're really, really excited about a plan you have for your business or something personal, some project you're working on, do not share it with anybody that might have that type of idea or story about you, because it's the easiest way to deflate yourself and to question yourself. You should keep that for you, or like I read somewhere that you're a product of the 5 people that you spend the most time with as far as your energy, and so just surrounding yourself with the right people.
It's so huge. And those are the only people I surround myself with. The only ones. And I recently just found a little pocket of people I never would have thought, but I can't be around them and live my great big life. I can love them from afar. That's what I want to be talking about, is we are not the types that are happy with ourselves if we're judging or criticizing or blaming others. So we have to come from that place of love, but it doesn't mean that we, wallow in their opinion of us. And you might need to just step away from that relationship, maybe forever. If it means it's holding you back from believing in yourself and your dream. Look, people's deathbed wishes are not, God, I wish I was a better business person. I wish I was a better mother or a better father. It's, I blew it. I didn't live my dream. That's the deathbed wish. I,
Mhm.
not wish. I wish I'd lived my dream. I wish I'd listened to myself and not put everybody else before me. Because here's the truth. Let's take a parent as an example. You do everything in your power to be, everything you can be for them. And here's what happens afterwards. And I've been counseling people for 27 years. They may like you, they may not later. They may stay with you, they may abandon you. They may be loyal, or they may throw you under the bus. And so it's a crapshoot what they're going to decide to do with all of your efforts. They may take your wonderful efforts that you did your absolute best and just criticize you for everything you did. And so why would we invest so much and sacrifice? Because that's what society says we're supposed to do as good parents. Sacrifice. And I'm not talking about not taking care of our families. I'm not talking about that. I'm certainly talking about doing that. But not, I'm going to revisit that. Do not do for your families what they can do for themselves. Your job is to emancipate these people and get them on their own 2 feet so they can be contributors to society. And so that takes out of the equation you bending over backwards.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say that about your business too. And if your customers are requiring something like that, then you need to hire somebody, to handle a lot of that stuff. And I've been, in and out with a lot of assistants, and it's what I needed to go, I can't do this without them.
Mm-hmm.
I can't be me without all that help. So whatever it takes for you to live that purpose, even if it means divorcing somebody. And I don't mean to be harsh, but at the end of the day, what's going to be more important?
Yeah, I have I just a quick short example, I guess, of what I'm talking about in case anybody can relate to this kind of thing, since we are talking about, families. I had an opportunity to go on an amazing trip to Hawaii, and I had a family member that was basically unable to go and felt that I shouldn't go because they couldn't go. And I was working with a coach at the time, and the coach said, "Over my dead body, are you not going on that trip?" And she encouraged me actually to say to this family member, I thought, and it's not manipulative really, it's the truth. And I approached it from positivity. And I said, "Oh, I thought you would be happy for me that I have this opportunity. I would certainly want you to go." And she was totally disarmed because I didn't engage in the argument. It was real practicing of self-love because it was saying, I only want what's best for you and for me. So yeah. And I mean, that's a situation where, it wasn't as extreme as cutting somebody off. But I remember, I think it was anxiety hacks for the holidays when you had talked a little bit about being really direct with the person, especially if you're just having a day where this person is really stealing your energy, and just saying, "Listen, I can't focus on this right now. I understand you need something from me, but for my sake, I need to step away. I need to go for a walk." Or, it's okay to be really, really direct with people and say, I can't right now. Let's revisit, or I don't know if I ever can, whatever it is.
As soon as you feel your lifeblood energy leaving you and you stepping into this saving people role, or that people won't make it without you, and that you have to sacrifice, there's that word sacrifice, like that person was wanting you to sacrifice your trip to Hawaii
Mm-hmm.
for them. And, there's nothing more important than that we feel good and that we're as happy as we can possibly be in any situation, because what we're going to offer to people who don't have access to that, maybe they're in their own downward spiral of fear, we're going to offer to them the example of, wow, this is also possible. I can be that happy, like the example of like a touchstone to reach onto. I noticed lately, people walking around like the grocery stores, I'm just using that example because that's usually where I see most of the people, just people aren't looking at each other. And so I just will go out of my way to smile and make eye contact and break that, because I want to keep everybody, together. And it makes me feel better. It makes me feel better. My license plate says uplifter. So, I just love making people feel better about themselves. So whatever it takes to feel good and be happy, whatever it takes. And you'll be patient with yourself while you're working through this. Be gentle with yourself while you're working through this, because it will happen. The more you practice this vibration, that's the opposite of anxiety, stress, taking the weight of the world on your shoulders, that thing will start to know, hey, there's not a lot of room there. And as you focus on some, like when I'm looking out like this, I'm looking at my beautiful pine trees out the window. Like, what's beautiful? I have a private Facebook group called Hacks for Anxiety and Depression. And we just focus on beauty in there. We don't talk about anxiety and depression. Nobody talks about anxiety and depression in there. Not that they're not welcome to. I said in the welcome video that they could, but all we focus on is beauty. When you look at beauty, when you focus at beauty, like when it starts to crash in on you and you start to go, wow, that little calla lily right there is so pretty. I love that shade. And I can feel the love coming from the trees right now to me. I can just, I really enjoy the prisms on the wall that this cool lamp is making right now. Just like find something to appreciate. And soon you will be turning that Titanic around. You know, you're barreling along in this way, in this road, and it takes some time to turn it around. So it will take some practice, and it will seem like, what's the use? Oh my God, I might as well just suffer. It will lessen, it will lighten, it will get better. It will get better. And I washed my brain. I started washing my brain 30 years ago, listening to Wayne Dyer and a bunch of other people, Mark Victor Hansen, and I still do it to this day. I'm just always finding people who uplift me, and I'm washing my brain a lot of times even while I'm sleeping, just because I know I need extra, oh, I can think this way. Oh, you mean it doesn't have to be like that?
Mm.
So it can be done, is what I'm trying to tell you. And just not, we have to only hang around the people that we want the results they have, not the others. Only hang around the people that have the results we have, unless they're your clients. I have a few clients right now that I don't want their results, but I'm being hired to help them. But I'm very sure that I'm strong when I am with them, so that I am showing the positivity that is their possibility. So yeah, that could mean your family. Yeah. I was talking to a client 2 days ago, and she said, well, not a client, well, actually, yeah, sort of a client, that her husband just got cancer, and it was really bringing her down. And I was looking up the type of cancer, and it's like, okay, well, this is about masculinity, and what your job now is to be the brightest light that you can be, and not because he's going to need you to be a bright light. And I said, maybe he's watching news a lot. She goes, oh yeah, he's got CNN going all day long. I said, I would leave. I mean, I'm happily single because I don't want to have that kind of stuff in my mix.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's in your house, it's in your walls, it's, a mass mind, and I have nothing to do with it, because I care enough about myself and feeling good. I say, I suffered long enough. I suffered my whole life. I paid my dues. I don't have to go there anymore. It's over. So I hope that this is of service.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And I think, I actually put it out there to everybody, what causes you anxiety in your business or personal life. And I just want to point out to you that nobody really, whenever we ask that question, says social media. They might say the news and current events, but it's almost like because it's a part of our business and something maybe a lot of us need to have for our business, and also to keep in touch with extended family and friends. I have found though that when I am in a good mood and then I spend even 15 minutes on social media, there's a shift. And I don't want to necessarily say it's always negative, but there is an energy shift, and maybe it's subconscious, but we're seeing, first of all, this vision of people's lives that isn't necessarily really the reality. We get the best shots and the the highlight reel. Yeah, and then on top of that, of course, and I know you mentioned this briefly too, but the news and what's being posted is meant to be provocative and to get people riled up. And then on top of that, it's targeted towards you based on what you've looked at and what you've searched a lot of the time, the ads you get and the posts you get. So it almost is like, it almost has an antagonistic energy in some ways, to see that piece of it. So.
And I only use social media for business. I never scroll. As soon as something about the news comes on, I'm like, woo, something else. I don't want to know. Because it's just somebody else's interpretation. Some guy with a camera who needs a story to get, impress his boss at whatever news media thing he's in. So I'm not interested, because that will send me into fear. That's when I realized, no, I can't do my job and be up when I'm seeing what's going on,
Mm-hmm.
and isolated. So no, I'm not doing it. So it's big stuff. And if anyone here, I'm doing a bigger workshop on this. We're going in depth. Actually, it's a 3-hour workshop we're doing on February 20th on this self-love to soothe anxiety and to end anxiety. Self-love. We're going to go deep into your own personal workshop on how to find those tools that will work for you. Find out what those triggers are for you, and just like reckon with it and be supported to really get this thing in a big hug so that you can go forward in power with the anxiety that you might experience. So we're going to be doing that on February 20th. And Shay put a link if you want to register right now. It's on early bird, and it's actually 1/4 of the price. In early bird, you will get the link to access the video forever, every time you need it, and to maybe do a refresher course on what are my triggers. I need to do this again. I need to come back into calm and space and be one with myself. Love, 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 love myself. Love my heart. Take care of myself. Take care of my heart so that I can relax and trust. So that's at lorrainepursell.com/anxiety hacks. And Shay's got the link on the page.
Yeah, I just sent it over in the chat too, if anybody just wants to click right from there instead of typing it in.
Yeah, it's in blue letters. And if you just want to, if you didn't get my my fast relief PDF with the 3-step formula that is guaranteed to bring you back home to yourself in an instant, grab it at 3 Keys to Self-Love. That link is there too. 3keys2selflove.com for that fast 3-step formula. 3 questions, 3 points that will just be right back to here. This is where we need to stay, right here. As soon as we feel like we're out there, we need to come back home. Okay? Because it's out there where the anxiety is. Stay right here in home. And soothe your heart, soothe your stomach, soothe your adrenals. You can just picture soothing them so that you're supported.
Yeah, and Lorraine, I wanna just share with you real quick a couple of the things that people sent over, just because it's great,
Yeah.
I think, for everyone on the call to give some perspective, get some perspective on what other people are sharing. You know, what causes anxiety in your business or personal life. A couple of you said not setting boundaries, not setting appropriate boundaries, or not holding people accountable when you do set boundaries, comparing myself to others or the success of others, toxic relationships, being too hard on myself, unhealthy habits, not enough sleep. About 3 or 4 people put that, and then overthinking. And I think these are all things that a lot of business owners do.
Yeah, and the not enough sleep is that we haven't surrendered and we're not trusting. I mean, I do it myself. And it's just, it's the ultimate question. It's the ultimate thing here on this planet is, can we surrender that burden and trust that we are taken care of by something bigger than us? I mean, if you just even think about how our body works so perfectly, of course, we would not just be plunked here to be, okay, now you're on your own. So it's that letting go and trusting again. I really thank you all for putting in those comments, because it's true. And I'm not exempt, but I come back to center. And I also put myself in lots of situations where I have to be seen, so I can't hide. So I've made a commitment to my community that when I'm having a rough day, they're going to know about it, because I'm not going to pretend to have it all together. I don't think that's helpful at all to have, a leader appear that way, because then you just start comparing yourself, go, oh, why can't I be like them? So in my work, as soon as I get something figured out or mastered, the first thing after I'm taken care of is I give it to you guys, because I don't want you suffering. I don't want you suffering. I don't want you suffering. And as soon as I find a breakthrough, I'm letting you know. It's my devotion.
Well, my biggest takeaway right now is the truth is light, the lie is heavy. And I love my little Post-it notes. I'm just going to put that to think about some more.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. Even if even if it doesn't make sense. Well, it is true that I said that and it was, but the guilt and the blame is not truth. Okay, you said something, but you could, start maybe practicing. I always say the right things. I always do the right things. I always hear my inner voice. I'm always guided by source, and I always hear the direction I'm supposed to be going in.
Mm-hmm.
I say yes to me. I say yes to my desires.
Yeah, and that goes back to the trust.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a big piece. I'm actually surprised this came through on the I don't do a lot of preparing in these because it's not about me and my great ideas. It's about sitting here and being before God and going, okay, what do you want to share? And I'm just like surprised that this is what came through. My mind's going, well, if you'd smiled more and you know, uh, had a lighter message, but it's like, no, that's not what I'm about. Like, oh, here's Lorraine. She's going to say all these things that will make her look good. No, I'm committed to delivering the message that's coming through me.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what came through very loud and clear. Just you are taken care of. You are loved. You are held in the arms of all that is. We are. We are. And if it's a new journey to you to just trust that and relax and surrender into that, then go ahead and just, experiment with it. Just experiment with maybe feeling like you're even being held in your grandmother's arms. What that felt like. Just feel it again. Just feel it again. Just feel that, just this bask in that. I really firmly believe that there's nothing but well-being. And anything that's not well-being and feels freaky like anxiety is something that we've bought, that we've picked up on. And, again, I'm going to call it a stupid human trick. Like us going, oh no, well, I have to do it all. It's got to be, it's up to me. And there is an element of that, but we could make that, if it's going to be, it's up to me, I'm going to set boundaries for myself.
Mm-hmm.
That one, yes, if it's got to be, it's up to me to set a boundary for myself. So it's just trusting that you are held, and everything that doesn't feel like that is a lie, because that feels heavy and it's not truth. A lie is heavy. The truth is light. That you are here to just enjoy yourself. You're here to have fun. You're here to experience heaven on earth. It can be hell or it can be heaven. Whatever you decide to focus on. Do you want to focus on beauty, or do you want to focus on people freaking out on the media?
Mm-hmm.
Because whatever we focus on does become an actual thing, depending on how much time you give it. It takes a little time. It turns from, infinite possibilities to a thing. Becomes a thing if we focus on that, like that negative thing. Like, oh my God, what if I do go broke? Oh my God. Well, if you go broke, guess what? You'll figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
You lose
Yeah.
your house, you'll figure it out. You'll find out how many helpful people there really are. You'll find out how alone you're not. So if you run to the worst case scenario, it can actually be very liberating.
Yeah, my mom always says, stop worrying about things you can't control. She says, only worry about the things you can't control. And then, like you said, it's either, you know, accept it, change it. You have options. You don't just sit in the worry, instead of taking any action. And, what the expense is for living in that hell is, of course, your happiness. But like you said earlier too, it actually, I mean, what's more valuable than your health and feeling good? And it made me laugh kind of when you said about body pain, because every time I'm on the call with our CEO and I say, oh, my eyes are a little, they're stinging, or they're this or this, he's like, oh, you're not doing this, you're not taking care of yourself as far as your mental and emotional well-being. He's like, your back probably hurts because you're tensing up, because you're worrying about this. And for the most part, he's absolutely right. So much of the ways that we don't feel good in our body is because we are not taking care of ourselves, I guess, in our mind or spiritually.
I couldn't agree more. That's exactly the platform that I work from. The other day my right knee started hurting and I put my hand on my knee and I said, "What are you trying to tell me?" And it said, "Let that thing go."
Mhm.
And it was this thing that happened, last week that just really triggered me. And I couldn't let it go.
Mhm.
I just, kept chewing on it, chewing on it. How can they, blah, blah, blah. We got to figure it out. We got to let it go, or else we're going to be suffering. Our body will pay the price. Were there any questions? Anybody have any questions?
We had a couple of actually comments come over, which I kind of shared with you a bit. Let me just check if I have anything else that I didn't get to. I want to make sure that I get to everybody. Well, I don't want to go too much into the media again, but I do know that right now that's really timely because there's so many things that are weighing on us. But Christian was asking if you have any, what do you recommend for keeping up to date, if not the news, or is there an unbiased news source that you found that has the right effect, I guess?
Kristen, thank you so much for that question. And my answer is no. And what I've learned is that if I'm supposed to know about it, it will come to me. There's that trust factor. And this happened when I had a situation where I had to rescue my sister, and we were hiding on my boat. I had a sailboat at the time, and we were putting her in safe holding for 2 weeks. We were living on the boat, and so I had no contact to the outside world. And one morning when I came out to take a shower, someone goes, "Did you hear what happened?" And I'm like, "No." And they go, "It was 9/11." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So what I've learned is that if it's something, even if it's a hurricane, okay, it's a hurricane. Somebody will let you know. So I do not have to even find why. I know it's kind of a challenge for a guy because guys do like to have your handle on that. But if it starts to make you feel uncomfortable, you need to turn away because that thing is churning in your gut. When it's churning in your gut, it's creating acids. I'm working with a client right now with horrible, horrible stomach issues because of her anxiety that she lets her mind just keep going and going and going. So it's about calming our mind and trusting,
Hmm.
knowing that if you're supposed to know about it, you will find out. Just in passing, someone will mention it. Oh, I guess that's a thing. Okay, so now I maybe find a little bit more about it. But I never search out information on the media because it's just, or like I'm going to Google, a disaster. No,
Hmm.
I'm not. To me, it's too much information. That old song by the Police. I don't know if you know that, but if there was a song, "Too Much Information, Clouding Up My Brain." I found that to be true. You can't be in a peaceful state if you have too much information going on in your mind. And that would include staying informed.
Hmm.
Maybe ask yourself the question, are you addicted? I'm sorry to be so confronting, but I want you to, I'd rather have you be a little upset at me and me ask you that question so you could go within and say, well, am I addicted? If you think you're not addicted to the news and media, and what you're addicted to actually is the drama and the shock.
Hmm.
And then the soup that your body, hormonal soup, the chemical soup that your body creates in answer to that. If you think you're not addicted, try not watching anything for a couple days and just watch yourself Jones for it. Okay, so it's a big, big, big body of work, and
Hmm.
so I don't need to know. I just stay blessing people, saying I love, I love, I love, I love, I love, I love. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. May all beings be blessed while I'm driving, trying to see real people in cars as they're coming toward me instead of like, oh, it's just a car. That depersonalization, I just cultivate, 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 cultivate love and appreciation.
Hmm.
And especially if I start to feel uncomfortable, I will find something to feel good about.
Mhm.
because that's all that matters. And then you'll find out that everything works out from that place. This is what I want to promise you. I want to promise you, this is not an irresponsible stance. This is the most responsible thing you can do, is to tend to your inner garden and tend to your own happiness. This is the most responsible thing you can do, because if you're walking along a cliff and you're with somebody and they fall off, or let's just say you fall off, who do you want up there with you? Someone else is going, oh my God, it's going, oh my God, you're going to fall down. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Or do you want somebody who's standing there going, we're going to get you out of this. We're going to handle this. You got this. Here, take my hand. So what we're having to do right now is prepare ourselves to be here. Take my hand. I've got you. I'm the strong person that you can look to.
Mhm.
But we can't be that way if we are bathing in everybody else's misery. I
Mhm.
hope that makes sense to you, Christian. And I mean that with all the love in the world.
And I guess this is kind of in line with if it is kind of that type of addiction or bad habit. Do you ever work with people who I guess need help when their anxiety comes up, that they engage in, bad habits? Maybe it's smoking, maybe it's, drinking from stress, whatever it is, I guess, to find more healthy, less self-destructive coping mechanisms.
Yeah. I am an addict through and through. I've been an addict my whole life. I can get addicted to anything. And so I'm going to speak from personal experience and then revert to my clients, because the clients that I'm working with are the ones that are like, yeah, I've been smoking pot like way too much and I just want to see what it's like. So just being around, and this is an example for you, as you get healthier and healthier and healthier and more responsible by taking care of yourself and your own happiness, you'll find that that stuff goes away, because you just won't want to be artificially jacked anymore. You'll want to like, whoa, I can create this in myself. Woo! I've gotten to the point now where I can just think of the word bliss and be there. I've had a couple of awakenings and everything comes alive. Like this wall I'm looking at right now is sending me love. Okay, I've seen it. I've seen it all. All there is love. All there is love. So anything that is not feeling love and not feeling good is something that needs love sent to it. So all of that to say, I have now become addicted to only good things for myself. Once in a while, I'll overeat. I just went on like a 2-week thing of, eating more potato chips, and I went on like an eggplant parmesan binge. But that's like the worst that it gets. I'm like, but I was doing my protocol for healthy eating all along the way. So it's just like, okay, now I'm just letting that go. And my body is coming back to center. So here's what I want to say about that. You just observe yourself as you are, because I can't tell you what would be a better thing. And honestly, you are the one that knows. You're the one who knows what would be the next step up the ladder, like a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. And when you fall down, don't beat yourself up for it. The thing you should do is celebrate yourself for getting up and taking the next step. Um, God only celebrates us, doesn't punish us. That's a big shift from, parentifying the divine and, maybe what organizations or families might say about God. So what if, I'm just going to plant this seed. What if it was only about celebrating you for all the right things you do? What if that's the only thing that registers in God, source, all it is? Not the things that we don't do well, but the things that we do well. Like, let's say if you don't pick up that cigarette. Wow, I didn't pick up a cigarette. I waited 5 minutes before I picked it up. I waited 5 minutes before I picked it up. Woo! Celebration. Because I don't do anything bad anymore. It's so amazing. And I'm getting so healthy because of it. So once in a while, it's like I'm addicted now to good things, to listening to people who uplift me, to only being around people who uplift me. to being in my zone of genius and not my zone of excellence, but doing what where it's like, phew, easy going. It's like the slippery slope in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So my message to you on that would just be to, sorry, Shay, what were you going to say?
No, I was just gonna say, I think you're right on the money with learning to celebrate what you have accomplished, because so much of what I'm seeing come over, and I see it a lot even when I work with our members too, and it is that maybe entrepreneurial spirit to be very hard on yourself, you know, and of course everybody tries and fails and gets back up again, but I actually, Christine, I saw wrote a comment about how much pressure she feels in the coaching industry to stay positive. And, you know,
Yeah.
that's kind of a comparison, but we do see, you know, a lot of really, really great positive energy. And I think that sometimes that can weigh on people, that they're like, well, how come I'm not feeling that positive? Or, you know, why do I have trouble putting myself first without feeling guilt over it? So, you know, it really is shifting the mindset to be more about celebration. And, you know, when you make a mistake, it's, you know, it's just like you said, the truth is light, the lie is heavy.
Yeah.
So
Let me just address that for Christine. Thank you, Christine, so much for writing that comment. When we feel bad feelings, what I'm talking about is not swallowing your bad feelings. I didn't even go into this. Um, you know, I do these workshops for direct pay once a quarter. So you might want to, because, you know, they're kind of cumulative, I guess I would say. So you might want to just stay hooked in. So when this happens again, because I'll be divulging more and more and more. But when we feel a bad feeling, we have to feel the bad feeling and we have to let it pass through us, because if we, so emotion is energy in motion. And as a highly sensitive person, or I call it ultra sensitives, not highly sensitive person, but ultra sensitives, we feel everything around us. And a lot of times we're feeling it for people who can't feel it, or we can feel what the collective is feeling. And what we're supposed to do with that is just let that emotion move through us. It's an energy in motion. So we let it move through us. That means we will experience it, but you get back to feeling good as fast as you can. That's our only imperative. So the thing about, you know, the positive energy, the positive energy, the positive energy, the positive energy, you know what? If you're not, you're not. You can't be something that you're not. But what I have found is that when I went back to my core and who I really was after coming out of a lifetime of depression and thinking there was something wrong with me, was that there was nothing wrong with me at all. Nothing. And I just feel better about myself after feeling so bad about myself for so much of my life. And so this is where I remember being this winsome, light, happy person that liked to help people feel better about themselves.
mm-hmm.
And that you might find that too, Christine. There might be something underneath the bad feelings. Is it, you know, there's something wrong with me. Everybody else is better than me. There's just something innately wrong with me, when there's nothing innately wrong with you at all. You are perfect right now. You are perfect right now. And if you want proof of that, just remember what I said. God only celebrates when we are celebrating ourselves, not when we fell down. That doesn't even register.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not, it's like if you're that emotion has to go through you, has to go through you, because if we swallow it, it's just letting it move through. You can do that with exercise. I have a bunch of TikToks about just, you know, quick anxiety hacks. You want to look, I think it's at Lorraine Pursell or something. So just quick, like little, you know, do this if you feel shitty sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just realizing that when you came into this world, you were light. When you came into this world, you were still connected to all that is. And then life can tend to beat it out of us sometimes, and well-meaning others trying to make sure that we can make it to the other side. And I think it's undoing all of that.
Mm-hmm.
That is actually to get ourselves to the emotional freedom to see how light and how beautiful and how innocent and how beautiful you really are.
Mm-hmm.
That you don't have to feel bad. I got news this morning that one of my friends has cancer, and I can feel the emotion as I'm going to help her, drive her to the doctor and those kinds of things. But I'm not going to let that weigh me down. And just noticing, as soon as you feel that being weighed down, that is your signal that you've gotten caught. Okay, I'm going to look for something happy. I don't want to, I'm not going there. I'm not going there. It's going down the drain. No, it's not what I deserve. It's not going to help anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's a trick. It's actually a trick to start to notice when we do that, because we're so addicted to suffering, we think that's who we are, but it's
Mm-hmm.
not really who we are at all. So that's why it's just the unraveling of all that stuff the cloaking that we put on ourselves with social norms and expectations on ourselves and ugh.
I
So
love that unraveling. It does
yeah.
feel like that.
And that goes back to there's nothing but beauty and love. Anything that seems other than that is something that we've bought, that everybody else has bought. What if all of that was just not the truth?
Mm-hmm.
What if the only thing that was true was it's all love, and everything is what we have said we don't deserve, and that's the barrier. So it's just going into a space of deserving. I deserve. I deserve every good thing. 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 And just start mantras like that just kind of shift. Like if your mind is going south in some kind of like icky thought, what would be the opposite of it that would feel good? Just start saying that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sometimes I have to get myself out of it like that. Wait, that's not true. And then I'm like you, Shay, I've got cards all over the place reminding me while I'm making my celery juice in the morning. Oh yeah, my big vision is this. 2021 is the year of being full of me. Finally coming out from under the rock. I'm ready. This is what this year is about. And trusting the things that we hear in our inner voice. Not the things that don't feel good, it would be the things that feel good. With the things that feel right. And that's our inner wisdom, trusting that inner wisdom.
Yeah, and I think I got the Post-its from you actually. I think that was your influence a while ago because I just put the mantras that I have and then I think of them, when I need them throughout the day. But the other thing that I did a couple of years ago, I think I mentioned to you, was that I created like an intention board and I set intentions and I wrote them down. And I actually found that I was able to accomplish so much more in that year, just by writing it down and saying, this is what I'm going to do for myself, to improve my happiness and my health. And on top of that too, I know a lot of people have heard this one, but even just in the morning, journaling like 3 things that you're grateful for, just these little things that you can do that really shift your mindset, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Here's something that Matt Kahn has taught me, and that is before I go to bed at night, write a bunch of stuff you did well.
Mm-hmm.
I ate, I locked the door, I walked the dog, put gas in my car. Just, things you did well. And then, things you're thankful for, and then things for the future. But I just think that's brilliant to go, okay, I did this well, and just focus on what you did well.
Mm-hmm.
Other people will focus on what you didn't do well, but that's them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Focus on what you did well, and your self-esteem will start to blossom, and you'll start to value yourself for the gifts that you do bring.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm not seeing any other questions come over, and I think I covered all the comments, but I just want to thank you again for doing this for us and for the direct pay community. I know that in the chat you can find the link to the Anxiety Hacks workshop that's happening on February 20th. And actually, I was going to say, when I follow up to this event, I'm also going to make sure that I include the links to the first 2 events in that email. So check your email if you didn't attend the other 2 we did with Lorraine, go check them out, because I see what you mean. It is kind of cumulative work. And I hope everybody takes advantage of the workshop on the 20th.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. We get such rave reviews from people who attend those workshops because it's a deep dive. It's not and it's not head knowledge. You will actually transform. You will never have anxiety again like you did. You will have gone to another level or so because, I go deep. That's the only way I can do my work. So you're gonna be liberated in that workshop. So it's LorrainePursell.com/anxiety hacks. And it's workshop number 3 is the one that we're registering for. So there's a button right there at the top that'll say, yeah, register me now. And these workshops are $197 and the early bird is only $40. And you get the access to the link to have access to that workshop forever. So I hope you join us because I want you free.
Thank you. Thank you for offering that to our community too. I had mentioned that, one of the messages we sent out that we really, really do love doing these webinars with members of our community, not only because they highlight, who you are and what you do, but also because they're so incredibly useful. So I just feel like you've given us the gift of your time and some of your content. So I hope people don't miss out on following up and continuing the work that we started today.
Awesome. Thanks, Shay. Thank you, everybody, for attending.